I'm a 16-year-old girl, and for the past few months, my life has turned into a real-life horror show. It all started with all these weird sounds. I kept hearing these weird noises outside my window at night. I live on the first floor, so I just figured it was some neighborhood cat or a raccoon rummaging around. But it didn't stop. Night after night, the noises persisted, and it began to mess with my head. I told my parents about it and said that it had been going on for weeks now. My dad told me he would do a checkup on the house to see if there were any animals in the house somewhere. Nothing with the house seemed to be out of order. So they told me that it was probably just raccoons or cats, just as I anticipated at first. Keep in mind that this has been going on for like 3 weeks now, and I slept with this noise for 1 month more before my parents decided to do something about it. Being the rational adults they are, they decided to install some cameras around the house. They figured that if they could catch whatever critter was causing the noise, they could somehow prevent it. Little did we know, the footage would reveal something way more sinister. After a few nights of recording, we sat down to review the footage. Most of it was uneventful, just trees swaying in the wind and the occasional car passing by. But then, we stumbled upon something that made my blood run cold. This man, this shadowy figure, climbing up to the level of my window. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt this sickening knot in my stomach as I watched him stand there, peering into my room. The worst part is that he even had been getting it on while watching me sleep. It wasn't a one-time thing either. The footage showed he'd been doing it multiple times a week. I can't describe the horror that washed over me. I mean, this dude had been watching me sleep, maybe even longer. I felt violated, scared, and angry all at once. My parents called the police immediately, but they couldn't identify the man. His face couldn't be seen, only the same jacket and beanie. They told us they'd keep an eye out and patrol the area more frequently. They would even surveil the house at night by parking a car near the house. But even then, I couldn't sleep. In fear of the feeling of being constantly watched, I started staying up late, paranoid about every creak and rustle outside my window. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. To top it off, I recall seeing the man a couple of times when I left for school in the morning. I noticed this guy walking by our house. He didn't live in our neighborhood, I was sure of it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized he'd probably seen me leave and come back, maybe even followed me. But since I had no idea he was a peeping Tom, I never thought anything of it. It really messed up my life for a long time, the idea that someone out there was fixated on me, invading my privacy in the dead of night. I can't comprehend that he's still out there somewhere, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I once got a Snapchat friend request, a random friend request, from a name that I didn't know. He claimed to go to the same campus as me, called me cute and all that, and I won't lie, his charm game was on point. We started chatting, harmless stuff, nothing too out of the ordinary. But man, was he smooth with his words. Kept me hooked. We only ever send texts, never send pictures. Not of ourselves, but only of our surroundings and whatnot. And surely enough, he had sent some pictures of being inside the campus. I kind of liked the feeling of not knowing him or knowing who he even was, while he knew who I was. Fast forward a few weeks, I got curious and decided I wanted to know who he was. So I looked up his name on the list of students who are going to the same school as me. There was 2 persons with the same first name as him, but I knew them both. They were both friends of mine, and I couldn't believe it would be them. It was also later confirmed that it wasn't either of them, since I received a snap from him, while I was talking with both guys who shared his first name. At this point, I had stopped replying to the guy whenever he snapped me. Of course, this made him ask why I didn't reply anymore. I just told him I need to focus on exams and can't be bothered with anything right now. But I just didn't feel comfortable in the situation. I thought that would be the end of it, but how wrong I was. About a week later, I get a notification on Snapchat. This guy sent me a bunch of pictures. They were all pictures of me. And from what I could tell out of those pictures, they were all taken the week prior to when he had sent them. I recognized my outfits and my surroundings. I got a lump in my throat. These pics weren't just taken anywhere. Some are on campus, others on my way home. He even had taken one while I was sitting at my desk at home while studying. I got a text right after the pictures that basically stated that he would keep trying and keep an eye on me because We could have been good together. And if I were to find someone else, he would know, and he wouldn't let it happen. I have no idea what this dude looks like. Walking around on campus and anywhere after this was a horror. It was mental terror. I would go from class to class, keeping an eye out for everybody, wondering if the person behind me is him. I even had hard times trusting my friends. As time moved on and I kept ignoring him, it eventually got better. He stopped texting me, but it was still a horror show that went on for about 5 months. Once, I got involved with this really unpredictable person. I was looking for love, and she was physically attractive, which drew me in. But soon, I realized how harmful she was to my well-being. She had a talent for taking my money, keeping me away from my friends, and taking up all my time. The little details of her strange behavior only made things worse. Eventually, I gathered the courage to end things. We had a face-to-face talk in my car outside her apartment. Her reaction was intense. Tears rolled down her face, she screamed and even slapped me. It was a chaos that left my car a mess, but I stuck to my decision, rejecting any chance of getting back together. As she walked away, she warned that I would regret it. The relief I felt driving away was huge, like breaking free from a bad spell. The next day, I focused on reclaiming my life, enjoying activities that her presence had overshadowed. Excited to reconnect with friends, I joined them at a local bar, sharing the crazy breakup story. My friends warned me it wasn't over. They said she was unstable. They were right. That night, after leaving the bar, I found a rusty 6-inch nail between my car's hood and windshield. This made me think about what my friends had said. Key marks on my car followed by slashed tires the next day. She haunted me, appearing at the edge of my vision. It was both annoying and scary as her intentions stayed malicious. Days after our breakup, a disturbing note on my door threatened terrible things unless I gave in to her demands. My car took a beating. Another rusty nail pierced my windshield, leaving me unable to see. I remember clearly, as I called for a tow truck, her perfume lingered, which was an unsettling reminder of her presence. But, you probably guessed it by now, she emerged from the back seat. In a fit of rage and desperation, I sped up, hoping her body would be thrown back into the seat. She clung to the seat, trying to strike with the nail. Angry, I raced through the parking lot until she hit the windshield. Law enforcement stepped in, arresting me while she got medical attention. Charges were pressed and a court case loomed. But my lawyer revealed her history of stalking, and my actions were considered self-defense. The nightmare continued with a civil lawsuit. This experience taught me the dangers of impulsive decisions and the importance of avoiding tumultuous relationships. It reinforced that even when faced with a threat, defending oneself must be done carefully.